Hello there, folks. Welcome back to another concert review. This is the last one for the month of March. I've seen a couple of good shows this month, and I'm closing the month out with a bang. First time concert for me seeing this gentleman, and his name, as you can tell by the thumbnail, is AJ Croce. Yes, AJ Croce, the son of Jim Croce. Jim Croce had AJ, passed away just a couple years into AJ's life. AJ ended up, moving with his mother, and she remarried. And unfortunately, his stepfather was quite abusive, caused AJ to become blind, pretty close to completely blind, all the way around, and kind of started doing music in his young teens and has really not stopped. Of course, anytime you are a famous musician and you have a child who is following in the family legacy, there's obviously going to be comparisons as to, they're not as good or they're better. You have Bob Dylan with Jacob Dylan. You have Nancy Sinatra with Frank Sinatra. Just that sort of thing. And, you're always going to compare who and who. Julian Lennon, Sean Lennon with John, Danny Harrison, that sort of thing. So AJ has to kind of, he's towed the line for a lot of years about, playing his father's music, not playing his father's music. And he finally, there's a good interview on CBS, from CBS Sunday Morning, that AJ did, where he's finally kind of accepted his father's legacy, and has kind of put it upon himself to spread that legacy. So tonight he played a show called Croce Sings Croce, and I got this little pin here that was given out at the merch table, so I got this for free. Very cool. And it was also billed, that he would play some of his own songs, as well as songs that inspired his father, songs that were in his father's record collection. And he did all of the above. I mean, it was just a wonderful evening of music. Now, if you don't know AJ, in terms of his musicality, he's a fantastic pianist. I mean, he plays piano like the old guys that would play with Alan Toussaint. He's got a little Dr. John in him in his playing. He's got some Leon Russell. I think he's billed as, if Leon Russell and Elton John had a son, he might be something like AJ Croce. He's got this really smoky voice. It's almost, there are hints of his dad there, and I'm gonna get to that in a minute. But he's got a little bit of a Dr. John kind of growl to his voice. It's just really good. Maybe not quite like Rod Stewart, but it's just a very smoky voice. Really, really good stuff. And he can play some boogie woogie piano. He can play some New Orleans. He played a little Latin number of an old gospel song called Judgment, I believe is the name of it. And he played acoustic and electric guitars. And again, and of course he sang, and he writes his own songs. Just an all-around talented guy, fantastic in his own right. Even if he didn't have the name Croce behind his name, I would highly recommend you seeing an AJ show if he is in your area, because he's touring this tour quite extensively. And it was a sold-out show, I will say that, here in town. I've seen a lot of great people at this venue. I've seen people like Mavis Staples. I've seen the Byrds with Marty Stewart here. I've seen Bryan Adams there twice. Sarah Jarosz I've seen there. So I've seen a whole bunch of people at this venue. Never really disappoints in terms of sound. And this was just one of those great nights of music. I mean, his band are just a fantastic group of players. His guitar player has played with, people like Declan, what's his name? Declan McKinney. Declan, I can't remember his name. But anyway, his bass players play with like Etta James, B.B. King, Aretha Franklin. And the drummer threw me for a loop. The drummer was one of Van Morrison's early drummers. He played on Moondance, and he played on Tupelo Honey. He was up with Van Morrison in Woodstock, and he was also an early member of the Steve Miller Band, and he played on all of those early '70s Steve Miller Band hits. So it was just fantastic group of musicians. There was only 4 guys on stage. It was perfect. AJ told stories between the songs. He told some great stories about touring with Ray Charles. AJ toured with Ray Charles He's toured with he toured with Dr. John for a little bit as well, and his bass player also played with Dr. John. So he's been around the block. AJ's earned his chops as his own solo musician. He told a great story about Sam Cooke and another bluesman who's escaping my memory, having a little bit too much to drink at a bar, and they told Ray Charles that he was going to need to drive them home. And of course, Brother Ray is a little impaired in certain regards, but they said that that Sam Cooke kind of sat behind him, and they kind of tied his arms to the wheel so that they could like direct him of where to go, even in their drunken stupor. And AJ said, years later, he was touring with Ray. He asked Ray, he said, hey, Ray, I've got a story that I've heard about you and Sam Cooke. And he said Ray kind of furrowed his brow, like what story is he talking about? And then he said, did you drive Sam Cooke home when he was drunk? And then he said Ray kind of like smiled. He's like, oh yeah, that was true. So he was thinking about some other story that had happened that wasn't as appropriate, I'm guessing, to repeat. But anyway, it was just a great story after story after story. And it was one of those shows where it didn't annoy me that he was talking, because he was talking in respect for his father. He was telling stories about the songs. I mean, he did, I've Got a Name, Leroy Brown, New York's Not My Home, Roller Derby Queen, um, Time in a Bottle. He opened with just boom boom boom, just songs, great songs. And the song that really kind of stuck out for me was Box Number 10, which was from the first Jim Croce record. And the reason that stood out to me was because the way that AJ was singing, and it wasn't his smoky kind of sound. He was singing a little bit more from his chest. So when I was closing my eyes and listening to him, and he sounded like his dad in various parts, and that was just very very cool. That here's AJ, who only knew his dad for just a couple of years before his dad passed away, and he's got that gene, that Croce gene, which is just incredible. I mean, he's got the curly hair, he's got the Croce talent, that's for sure. And it was just kind of a warm thing to see. But I mean, again, hearing Operator played by Jim Croce's son, it's the closest I'll ever get to hearing Jim Croce play Operator. It was just beautiful, and the twin guitars playing the counter melody with one another. Again, like I said, Leroy Brown, I've Got a Name, Box Number 10, New York's Not My Home. Just a wonderful evening of songs. But with that, again, he was singing some of his own songs. He sang one song that's only a single right now, that he wrote about the pandemic, about it's good to see your friends, but even better to see them leave when they come to a party. And that was a fun song. But he did songs from his dad's back catalog. He did the songs that they learned together. He did songs from this album, which I purchased, and this is his album By Request, which came out 2021. And as you can see, it is signed, albeit a little smeared. But you have AJ Croce, you have David Berard, Gary Malaber, Garrett Stoner, Billy Harvey, Robin Ford, and then let's see. Yeah, so it's produced by AJ, and again, oh, that's who it is. I'm sorry. So the drummer was Gary Malabar, who played with Van Morrison, and there he is right there. He also came out and played a couple of tunes on the piano. You have David Berard on the electric bass, this gentleman, and background vocals. He sang some great background vocals. You could tell this man toured with Etta James. He had some soul in his voice. And then you had, let's see. I don't think he's on here. But anyway, so he did a few of these songs. And let's see the record. This is the first time I've seen the record. Beautiful record. By Request. Same on the other side. He did this beautiful version. After he told the Sam Cooke story, he sang the song Nothing Can Change This Love. Just beautiful. You know, if I go a million miles around, just so good. Um, he also sang after this fantastic just run, this fill, like this. He just did this piano instrumental that was just drop dead, full of talent. It was incredible. And then he went right into Nothing from Nothing by Billy Preston, which is the opening track on this record. And again, he does Nothing from Nothing, Only Love Can Break Your Heart, Have You Seen My Baby, Nothing Can Change This Love, Better Day, Ooh Child, Stay With Me, Brickyard Blues, San Diego Serenade, Ceylon Sailor, Can't Nobody Love You, Ain't No Justice. And I'm really excited to spin this. I might even spin it tonight before bed. But absolutely incredible show. See AJ Croce. It was a great show. I was not disappointed. The one disappointment that I had was that the venue was a little bit warm, and I'm wearing this flannel here, and as a result of that, the guy that was sitting next to me with his girlfriend, he took the program and was folding it into a fan during New York's Not My Home, and I was just thinking, like he's just crumpling the papers, like singing along. And you can tell this guy was a musician because he was singing along and singing loud and kind of doing like off drumming on his lap. And you know, you can sing with the artist, but don't sing too loud when it's a ballad and it's a very quiet venue anyway. I will say I feel like I was the youngest person there. There might have been a couple other guys. I think I saw a couple other guys, maybe a couple years younger than me, in the merch stand area. But other than that, there was a lot of blue hair in the venue. So anyway, all that being said, see AJ Croce. He is fantastic. I know my buddy Glenn Kellaway likes him a lot, and I like him a lot now. So there you go, folks. Hope you enjoyed it. Let me know what you think. Comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. And we'll talk to you on the next one. Bye now.